stardust season. I need my check, man, he always gon' remind. I had to bust out some raps for the one time. Think I'm flexing, I only do sometimes. I need to big gas on my wrist like it's lunchtime. I had to bust out some racks. Show me they fake so I can't get attached. I'm a Carolina boy, now we up on the map. But it's Hershey, a fan, I won't get on my lap. No, I'm the kid, it's just hop on the spaz on the track. Never lying, they know that's a fact. I had to bust out some racks. The girl on my line, but I never be here in the back. Bust on the road, but I got back on track. They be switching, I'm knowing the cap.
Alright everybody, welcome back. I'm going to be talking about 5 things I dislike about my Infiniti Q50 Red Sport, which is that car right there. One thing I do definitely hate is how dirty it is right now, so let's clean it real quick. Alright, so now that that's done and the car's a bit cleaner now, still not perfect, but a bit cleaner, I'm going to take it for a drive and we're going to talk about it. I cannot stress enough that I do not dislike this car. I literally have to think of 5 things that I dislike about the car. It's my second favorite car that I have behind this one, but I just keep in mind, I don't hate the car. It's just 5 things that I wish they did better, and I think they could definitely improve on their future cars. So one thing I do dislike is the engine of this car, and not the engine in of itself, but just how cramped they build these things. It is still a bit messy in here. I haven't done a full clean on the car in a while, but as you can see, I mean, this engine is absolutely terrible to work on. You can't see anything. You can't really get to anything very well. There's just not a lot of access to the things you want to do. Outside of the intakes and I guess the catch can, there's really not easy access to anything. Even the intakes, like the tubing goes under, it's just such a process to do anything. So this is definitely number 1. Don't get me wrong, I love the VR30. I love the platform. You can build a ton of power with this. But look at this. I mean, would you really want to work on this? Outside of that, nothing else I have to complain about with the engine. So number 2 is definitely the backup camera. But if you look at how dark this camera is. What is really nice is you can adjust it. But this isn't a 5 things I like. This is a 5 things I hate. And I hate this stupid camera. Look at how bright it is outside. And look at how bright the camera is. It's just, don't judge this because my window's tinted. But this camera is so dark. And sometimes I literally can't see at night. If it wasn't for my 3rd brake light I installed, that's like underneath where the diffuser is. Thankfully I have that, so I'm able to use it to kind of see what I'm doing. But, I mean, this camera is terrible. So that's definitely number 2. Another thing I will say I dislike a lot is this infotainment system. I think it is so incredibly annoying, incredibly slow, and incredibly outdated. It is by far the worst thing about this car. It is the only thing I actually didn't have to think of. This infotainment system is so slow and terrible, it's ridiculous. Outside of clicking these 3 buttons right here, which are labeled audio, menu, and climate. Menu is clearly the main menu, audio is your music and such, and climate is climate, obviously. Outside of those 3, everything else takes its time, and it's not easy to navigate at all. I don't really know what's going on, and the top map looks incredibly outdated. At first, when I first got the car, I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like 2 screens. I've grown to dislike it, and I've grown to definitely dislike the top map as well because it just looks so outdated and old, that map. So I really dislike that. These tires are SP Sport 5000s. They're Dunlops, but the original tires on this were Pirelli tires, and I'm not a fan of them. The OEM tires for this are terrible. No disrespect to anybody with Pirellis, but I've had no good experiences with those tires. So I guess for what it's worth, that's not why I hate it anymore. I don't dislike them anymore. I like these tires a lot that I went with, but the original ones on this car are absolutely terrible. And if you ever get one of these, the first thing I would say do is change out those tires. The newer Q50s and Q60s come with Dunlops, so that's what I ended up with on these cars. That's what I put on, and I like them a lot. Another thing that I don't love about this car, and I know this is supposed to be kind of, a luxury car, so I expect more from it, but the paint on this car is just not great quality. The clear coat is just very thin. You can tell when you wash these, it's just not amazing. The interior quality is very nice on this, in my opinion, but I have to say the paint quality on these is just not that great. Now, I take care of it, I polish it, I wax it, I clay it and all that, so it looks good, but I have heard plenty of horror stories about this paint. Another thing is just how close this car is to Nissan. I understand it's made by Nissan. I also drive an Acura, and that is so different from a Honda. I've been in a bunch of Lexus cars, and they're so different from Toyotas. this is just so close to a Nissan. My girlfriend has a Nissan Rogue, and like her buttons are the same, her mirror is the same, like they just couldn't change anything. I have a cover on the key just to make it look half decent, but the original key, like you can see, it's literally a Nissan key. And I think that's just so like lazy to do. Even like the camera system, someone I know just got a Nissan as well, and they don't have this camera, but they have this camera, and it's just the camera button, instead of being here, is like over here. I wish they could have like just done a little bit more to really make this like show a difference. I understand like it has like the, you know, different infotainment system and all that, but it really is like the same type of thing. And I understand that Infiniti is made by Nissan, but like I said, the Acura I drive is not like the Hondas that I've driven. I actually owned a CRV, and now I have an RDX, and the RDX is drastically different from the CRV. They definitely could have done a little bit more with this that differentiates it from a Nissan. It's like I'm driving a really fast Maxima. The video I want to make about the 5 things I do like is probably going to be a lot longer. I might even do 10 things I like, because there's that much. Like I said, I really had to think about things I didn't like about the Infiniti, but I accomplished 5, maybe 6. So of course, I just want to say thank you for watching, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that, and then tune in for next time.